As part of a group, you are responsible for reducing the risk of accidents or incidents occurring in your work environment. Whether you are a new or experienced employee, you must always take safety seriously. A complacent attitude to workplace safety can lead to unnecessary accidents, injuries, and even fatalities. Potential hazards at work can be avoided by taking simple precautions. This program covers risk assessment, housekeeping, slips, trips, and falls, hazardous substances, electrical hazards, work equipment safety, personal protective equipment, noise, material handling, fire, confined spaces, and outdoor work. A risk assessment will help make your workplace a safer place. To conduct a risk assessment, you need to identify the hazards, assess the risks, and control the risks. Hazard identification may require a site and plan inspection and analysis of any previous incidents. Before commencing a task, identify equipment, materials, and conditions that have the potential to cause harm. When hazards have been identified and assessed, implement risk control measures. Where possible, eliminate the risk. If it is not possible to eliminate the risk, take action to reduce the risk. Use a less hazardous process, substance, or material to complete a task. Certain tasks may need to be isolated to prevent exposure to you and your coworkers. Tasks and processes may need engineering controls, such as exhaust ventilation for dust or fumes. Training of personnel in safe work practices can reduce the risks of incidents and injuries occurring. If you discover any workplace hazards, report the hazard to your supervisor immediately. Always use and wear suitable personal protective equipment. Because personal protective equipment does not reduce a hazard at the source, always reduce the risks as much as possible with a combination of other control measures. Housekeeping at work means maintaining clean and tidy work areas and promoting a safe and efficient working environment. Make sure the storage areas you use are kept free of obstacles and you have easy access to the most used items. Materials, substances, and workplace equipment can pose a hazard if they are not stored correctly. Check emergency exits are not blocked by storage items or by waste and rubbish. Do not run cords over hot surfaces, wet areas, sharp objects, or traffic areas where they may get damaged or worn. In most cases, the hazards leading to slips, trips, and falls can be avoided by taking a few simple precautions. Clean up slippery surfaces caused by the spillage of liquids and the buildup of filings and dust from machine processes as soon as possible, and ensure coworkers do not travel across the area. Footwear plays a vital part in preventing slips and trips. On most industrial sites, you must wear safety boots with steel-capped toes and gripping soles. Check your shoes and the soles for faults regularly and keep them well maintained and clean. Be careful when working on outdoor surfaces that may become slippery from rain. Floor surfaces and floor coverings that are damaged can result in slips, trips, and falls. If you encounter hazardous floor surfaces or coverings, report the hazards to your safety officer or supervisor. Abrupt, unmarked changes in floor levels may cause a person to trip or fall. Be careful when using stairs, ramps, and steps, or when working near edges. Obstructions or protrusions that are present in pedestrian areas present significant trip hazards. These hazards can include trailing cords, wires or conduit, pipes and hoses, and old equipment and trash. Falls from height can result from a slip or trip while working on scaffolding, high work platforms, mobile platforms, roofs, or on ladders. The hazard is increased if the fall is into the path of a vehicle, onto a sharp or dangerous surface, or a dangerous substance. Falls can occur not only at heights, but also into holes, pits, or trenches. You will need to be trained and qualified to install and use equipment for working at heights. Hazardous substances refer to the variety of chemicals and other agents which have the potential to harm you and your coworkers' health. Hazardous substances at work can include cleaners and degreasers, grease and lubricants, solvents, paints and chemicals, and cleaning products used in bathrooms. When using a hazardous substance, always follow manufacturer's instructions and read container labels and material safety data sheets. Make sure you wear suitable personal protective equipment when handling, storing, or working with hazardous substances. Always wash your hands after handling hazardous substances. If hazardous substances are mishandled and are not under control, spillages may affect others nearby. Incidents can occur because substances get into contact with the eyes and skin, breathed in, swallowed, or enter the skin through a puncture wound. If you inhale, ingest, or come into contact with a hazardous substance, you must know the appropriate emergency response and first aid procedures. Hazardous substances need to be stored in specific areas. Your workplace may have specific containers or treatment areas for the disposal of substances and materials. Dispose of all hazardous substances and materials in accordance with health, safety, and environmental guidelines. Electricity can kill, and non-fatal accidents can cause severe and permanent injury. In the case of a person being electrocuted, don't touch the person. Isolate the supply and obtain assistance. Poor electrical installations may also lead to fires, which may result in injury or death. Electrical equipment used outdoors may present different hazards than when used indoors. For example, if it is wet or raining, electrical equipment could put you at risk of electrocution. Rubber-soled safety shoes, rubber gloves, and floor mats are good insulators and will minimize the risks of electrocution. Faulty electrical equipment must be taken out of use until it is repaired. Don't try and fix any problems yourself. All work with electricity should be done by appropriately qualified personnel. Workplace equipment includes fixed machinery, portable hand tools and equipment, vehicles such as forklifts, and process machinery. Some of the hazards are contact with moving parts or materials, stored energy, noise from the equipment, electricity, dust and fumes, and vibration. Before starting work, ensure loose clothing, hair, and jewelry is removed or tied back. These items can become entangled in moving parts and result in body parts being drawn into equipment. Materials such as splinters, dust, and metal grindings being produced can potentially cause eye injuries. Parts of work equipment may become hot during use, and contact with these surfaces can result in burns. Saw blades, grinding wheels, and cutting machines can lead to cuts, burns, and severed fingers. Regular equipment maintenance and suitable operation can minimize the risks of injuries and incidents occurring. Always use the correct tools for the task and follow manufacturer's instructions. You need to understand isolation procedures for lockout and tagout during equipment maintenance and servicing. You must be trained and certified to use equipment at work. Only use the equipment you have been trained to use. There are a wide range of hazards associated with hand tools that depend not only on the tool used and the operation being undertaken, but also the source of its power. Accidents can also occur if the hand tool is not well maintained or defective. Every year, people are killed and injured by powered industrial trucks. Pedestrians must be excluded from areas where forklifts operate. Drivers can have a limited field of view. Be aware of traffic routes for industrial trucks and stay in designated pedestrian areas. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, comprises a range of clothing and equipment that you are required to wear to help protect yourself from workplace hazards. PPE includes safety glasses, gloves, overalls, safety boots, hearing protection, and respiratory equipment. Don't presume you are completely safe when wearing PPE because it does not reduce the hazard at source. Select suitable and appropriate PPE for each task and ensure that it is in good condition, well maintained, and fits comfortably. Any defects in PPE should be reported to your supervisor immediately and the faulty item removed, repaired, or replaced. Store PPE in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations and so that it is not contaminated or damaged by workplace processes. In most workplaces, noise is caused by machines, tools, and process operations. Prolonged exposure to noise can result in irreversible hearing damage. Exposure to sudden, very loud noise can cause instantaneous damage to hearing. There is no cure for hearing loss. However, it can be prevented. It is essential to wear the correct hearing protection if you work in areas with prolonged noise or there is the risk of exposure to very loud peak noise levels. Hearing protection includes earplugs and earmuffs and is rated for specific noise levels. Always check that your hearing protection is in good working order and that it is worn correctly. Never remove your hearing protection when in a noisy area, as this will increase your daily exposure to noise and can result in irreversible hearing damage. Injuries that can result from unsuitable material handling practices include back damage, twisted ankles, sprains and strains, torn ligaments, and broken bones. When lifting is required, don't take unnecessary risks. Always use suitable mechanical aids when possible. Always assess a load before you lift. Plan the lift by checking the weight of the load. Check the place where you are going to put the load and confirm that there are no obstructions. Stand close to the load with feet apart so that you have a balanced, stable base for lifting. Get a firm grip and move the load close to your body. Do not jerk the load. Lift it smoothly. Do not bend your back. Bend at the knees and keep your back as straight as possible. Always keep your arms and the load close to your body, and when turning, use your feet rather than twisting the body. When carrying out a team lift, make sure that one person gives clear instructions during the lift. Where possible, avoid pulling a load. Pushing puts less strain on your back, and it also lets you put more force behind your body. Be especially cautious of reaching down and behind. This movement places a severe strain on your body.